Thank you, Jess. It feels a bit odd to be advertised as a guest when it's my department that runs the event. So I'm not sure I had a lot of choice about coming and opening it, but I'm very grateful. I'm very glad to be here. Some of what I'm going to say, if you were here yesterday, you'll have heard yesterday when Moira spoke, because we both got the same set of briefing notes. So feel free to, doze off and think about cats for 5 minutes, and then I'll signal in some way when you need to tune back in when I'm saying something different. I'm really pleased to be here at X. I've been at Glasgow 3.5 years now, and this is one of the most interesting, exciting, vibrant things I think that we do here at the University of Glasgow. I think the opportunity for students at an undergraduate level to come and present in a forum like this to their peers, to staff, and to have that recorded and broadcast on our channels is really useful experience for students, and I think it's really helpful for those who present, but also if you're in the audience and watching, I think there's so much you can learn from seeing the way that people present, the things that they do. X is different, so there are a number of undergraduate research conferences around the UK. X is very different in that it's not just a bunch of undergraduate students who are doing some research and think, well, I'd like to present that, who put a paper in and then they rock up and present. So all our presenters today will have been mentored by one of our PhD students here at Glasgow. That's something that I've not seen anywhere else. And I think that's really useful for both parties in that the undergraduate student gets the benefit of the experience of that PhD student who's further along in their academic career. And the PhD student gets the opportunity, which they often don't get, which is to work one-to-one with somebody, to do some mentoring, to work on a subject. One of the things that we do here is that the subjects you don't... So Jess mentioned that we've got someone from chemistry. Well, they won't have been paired with a PhD student from chemistry. They'll have been paired, I don't know who, so I don't know. But it could be English literature, it could be philosophy, it could be maths, it could be anything. So the whole point is that it's about bringing the disciplines together and making the presentation as much about the skills and the techniques that you learn as it is about the content that you deliver. We are in our 5th year of X, which again I think is pretty impressive. It started, my first boss used to describe things that were done on not very much money as being run on 2 yogurt pots and a piece of string. X was sort of run on 2 yogurt pots and a piece of string, but I'm really pleased that we've been able to throw a bit of money at it in the last couple of years, which means that you get decent lunch. Well, I say you get a decent lunch. Part of the point of X is to enable you to experience what a real-life academic conference would be like. So we provide the sort of lunch that you would get at a real-life academic conference. So if you come to this and you think, oh, well, if I go to another one, it'll be better. As Jess also mentioned, we have the posters, which are new this year. And again, that's a different way. If you move into an academic career, one of the things that you may be asked to do or you may choose to do is a poster at a conference rather than presenting. And so getting this experience of designing posters and being able to express your views in a particular way. I used to teach, my background, I trained as a librarian, and everybody goes, but I have a very bizarre background. I did librarianship and I did media production. So I ended up teaching, half my job was teaching librarians and half my job was teaching people how to make films. It was a slightly odd academic model. But one of the things I used to teach was how to present information in ways that people find accessible and easy to use and appealing. And so I think these posters are excellent, that they're really well thought out, they've really put the message across well, and I think that people have done a really good job with them. So I've mentioned the fact that X gives you lots of skills. I think as a research-intensive institution, Glasgow has a particular interest, obviously, in research. Now, it's not the be-all and end-all that some people might make out that it is. Might have to cut that from the recording because the University Management might not like that. But it's not the most important thing. And it's not true that, as it might have been 20 years ago, that the intended end point of people who come to Glasgow was to go into research and become an academic themselves. You will go off and do all sorts of things in your career. But if you are interested in moving into academia and you are interested in getting into research, being able to get involved early on, I think, is really important. So for me, I did my undergraduate dissertation on, I stood outside a job centre in the town where I was born, and asked people as they came out of the job centre where they went to get information to help them find a job. And lots of people were not very happy to talk to me, and lots of people walked straight past, but I interviewed about 20 people. And I got a note in my pigeonhole one day from my dissertation supervisor, and it literally said, if you get this by 12:30, come and see me. If you don't bother. Didn't say what it was about. That was all it said. So I managed to get into her office at just on 12 o'clock, and she said, I think your PhD is really interesting. There's a call out for funding, your dissertation, sorry, there's a call out for PhD funding. It closes at 1 o'clock this afternoon. I've only just found out about it. Do you want to sit with me for the next hour and put together a proposal? So I sat in her, I hadn't thought about doing a PhD. I don't think I've still really thought about doing a PhD. I sat down in her office, we thrashed out a proposal, we put it in, and then I thought no more about it, didn't hear anything. And then I got a phone call one day in about August. I was working in a library at the time. I'd just graduated, and I got a phone call, and it was my supervisor who said, I was in Kent, which is sort of southeast, and I went to university in Brighton, and so the first time it was, can you get here by 12:30? This one was, can you get to Brighton tomorrow? So I said, well, probably. Why? Well, they're giving out 3 studentships, and they've had over 100 applications. They've given out 2, and they've got 1 left, and there's 4 of you that they're shortlisted, but they want another proposal, an updated proposal from you for the 4th one. So I got on a train and tootled along the coast to Brighton, and we worked on it, and we put it in, and I was very lucky, and I got funded to do my PhD. So that was a slightly accidental route into my PhD, and then, look where I am now. But if I hadn't been done something really different and interesting in my undergraduate research, in my undergraduate dissertation, I wouldn't have got that opportunity. So I think doing research as an undergraduate is really important if you want to go into academia. But also, if you're going into any field, being able to present, being able to order your thoughts sensibly, being able to articulate them, and more than anything, being able to make your case to a group of people who are not specialists in your field is really important. And that's what X does. I mean, unfortunately, I got to go before the Dancing Monkeys presentation this morning, which I'm really, really upset about, but I shall watch the video. Well, I doubt there are many people in the room for whom stress responses in Dancing Monkeys in Pakistan is the first thing that comes to their mind. I mean, it's obviously the first thing that comes to my mind every morning, but it may not be the first thing that comes to your mind every morning. But the fact that somebody's going to get up and talk to us about that, and we will be able to engage in that, we will be able to ask questions about that, we will be able to think about what that means for us. So yesterday I saw 4 presentations, and I just thought about the links between those 4 very different presentations. They were on very different subjects, but there were links in them, and I was able to think, oh yeah, that links to this and that links to that. And making those links again is really important for us in our employment. So I hope you have a good day. If you think you watch this and you're a 2nd or a 3rd year and you're coming up into your final year and you're going to write your dissertation next year and you're thinking, oh, I could do that, start thinking about that now. And don't forget that my wonderful colleagues in Leeds, who today have decided they're either wearing burgundy or dark blue, so if you see someone in burgundy or dark blue, they're probably someone from Leeds. My fabulous colleagues in the Leeds for Students team run all sorts of workshops and sessions and one-to-ones, and we have a lot of material online that can help you develop your skills, help you develop as a presenter, a writer, or whatever. So don't forget, come and talk to us. I know I'm slightly preaching to the choir, because if you didn't know who we were, you wouldn't be here today, but you can get lots of support from them. I hope you have a fabulous day. I hope you really enjoy listening to the presentations, and if you're presenting, good luck. We're all rooting for you. Nobody's going to, well, I might, but nobody else is going to ask you awkward questions. And I'm sure you'll be brilliant. Have a lovely day. Thank you.